ABC News. Around the world and into your home. The stories that touch your life. This is 2020 with Barbara Walters, Diane Sawyer, Sam Donaldson, Connie Chung, Charles Gibson, and Hugh Downs. Tonight, the investigation. What happened at Columbine High?
On the fire! You gotta stay on the fire! Is there any way you can lock the doors? Sophie's coming in from down on the okay. The gun is right outside the library door, okay?
12 students murdered. The boy who liked to tinker. The girl who loved poetry. The student expected to be this year's valedictorian. And their popular teacher.
You guys are heroes to us.
Last night, the boys who tried to keep him alive carried his last moments and his last words to his family.
When we were talking about his wife, and that was the first picture that was in his wallet.
Tom Gerald with the latest from Littleton. High school terror. And a 2020 exclusive. She's an unlikely hero, a tax collector. The Senate's star witness against her own boss, the IRS. While others testified in disguise, she stood up and blew the whistle.
Our job to stick it to the taxpayer.
Now, unbelievably, her bosses have taken steps to fire her. And she says the IRS hasn't changed a bit.
These people are mean here. They don't care about somebody's hardship.
This woman lost her home and was forced to unravel a lifetime of memories. An elderly couple could face the same fate.
I don't know what they're thinking, but they're certainly not thinking with any heart.
Whatever happened to the idea of a kinder, gentler IRS? Sam Donaldson with a story for every taxpayer. The new IRS. Plus, he's a rebounding machine. Maybe the best the NBA has ever seen. But Dennis Rodman is out of a job. Fired from the LA Lakers.
Is this the end of the road for Dennis Rodman in basketball?
No. I'll be back.
For the first time, the bad boy of basketball speaks to Diane Sawyer about being fired, his huge gambling debts, his brief marriage.
It was wrong.
To be married.
Yeah, it was wrong.
The outrageous appearance, the fierce defiance. Did he push us too far? What will happen to him now?
This may seem like it's the greatest thing in the world, but it's, can I say it? It's a bitch.
Tonight, Diane Sawyer takes a ride on the wild side with Dennis Rodman, as you've never seen him before. Bad Boy. Those stories tonight, April 23rd, 1999.
This vehicle is a lot like an all-weather coat. I mean, you know, a tough one. It's ready for the elements, ready for any situation. But there's a surprise. When you go to put this thing on, oh, that's actually pretty smooth. There's fur in here. This is comfortable. That's the experience of looking at a Pathfinder and then getting into it. You're in a whole different world inside, and it's one of comfort and luxury.
How do you furnish a room with a ceiling made of sky? Introducing the affordably priced Home and Garden Collections from Ethan Allen. Because the most beautiful place in your home may not be in your home at all. The spring sale is on now.
Genius? Yeah, right, if they only knew. Chaos. So many stores, so fast. Stores aren't connected. Nobody's connected. Inventory's a mess. My suppliers are totally in the dark. Help. The AT&T people said that they'd get everyone connected in real time. That'll fix it. Maybe going public isn't so crazy.
AT&T Net.working to make your business succeed.
Did somebody say 2 Egg McMuffin sandwiches or 2 sausage biscuits with egg or 1 of each for just $2? Or for you sleepyheads, 2 Quarter Pounder with cheese sandwiches or 2 6-piece chicken McNuggets or 1 of each for just $2?
From ABC News in New York, Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters.
Good evening and welcome to 2020 Friday. We begin tonight in Littleton, Colorado, where the community is searching its soul while still in shock and in mourning. Parents grieving over their murdered children, and teenage survivors wondering if they will ever feel safe again. And amidst all the unbearable sadness, the investigation continues.
Well, there are still so many unanswered questions. Have all the bombs that were planted in the school been found? Is it possible that this elaborate plan was carried out by just two people? And if not, who were their co-conspirators? And we're going to tell you about an emotional meeting that will touch your hearts as it has ours. Here's Tom Jarrell with the very latest details from Littleton.
Exclusive amateur video of Dylan Klebold, given to 2020 by another student who says it was a class video project. Klebold, suspected of mass murder just 16 months later, explains why he wants to take a difficult math class.
Probably so you get better chances after high school as far as college goes. Maybe a scholarship, something like that.
3 days ago, his thoughts apparently turned to death, and his future, along with pal Eric Harris, ended in violence.
The horror, the destruction, just the horrific sense of what they did. I believe there's a special place in hell for these two, and they're there right now.
The views of Denver Police Captain Vince DeManna underscore the mood of what many feel here for those who brought carnage and grief to Littleton, Colorado. For the first time, sounds to the scenes of horror at Columbine High.
I am a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun.
These emergency 911 tapes, just released, depict the panic of the callers, including this teacher trying to protect students.
And the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the table, kids. Hands under the table. Kids are screaming. Who is the student, ma'am? I do not know who the student is. Oh, God. Stay on line with me. Oh, God. Kids, just stay down. Do we know where he's at? He's right outside of here. He's outside? He's outside of this hall. Outside of a hall or outside of a hall? There are alarms. Things went off. There's smoke. My God, smoke is like coming into this room.
The sounds of gunfire.
Is there any way you can lock the doors? Smoke is coming in from out there, and I'm looking away. The gun is right outside the library door, okay?
And the overburdened dispatchers trying to identify the shooters.
Attention Unit 71 is under fire. He advised the suspect just ran into the building. Is this the party in the trench coat?
Yeah, west side by the ball field. Supposedly they're in black trench coats.
Thine is the kingdom. The community remains dazed, puzzled, and clustered together at memorial services, sharing their grief and mourning the victims.
We want to give you hope today. This is not the end.
Jesus, Lamb of God. Some of last week's carefree teens today are among the walking wounded of a conflict few understand.
I never thought I'd get shot, let alone at school.
Stephanie Munson, at the entrance to the school, heard teachers screaming and popping sounds, gunshots. When the bullet struck you, what did you feel?
It felt like something blew up, like in my sock, like in my leg. And I had no clue what it was, and it freaked me out.
With a bullet hole through her ankle, Stephanie continued to run a block further.
Like, I didn't even know that there was a shooting until I was in the ambulance and they told me that there's a shooting at my school.
Yeah, it's in two pieces now. Here.
A silver chain with a medallion may have kept Brian Anderson out of the obituary columns. Gunman Dylan Klebold, whom he knew, cut him down.
He was firing down the hill, turned and looked at me, aimed and shot, and then he looked, and then I got knocked off my feet.
What saved you?
My necklace that I was wearing. It just hit the necklace, and the necklace broke.
In the newspaper, the faces and names of those not so fortunate, the 13 killed, with brief footnotes. Isaiah Scholes, the wisecracking senior. John Tomlin, the perfect son. And Dan Marsher. He wasn't shy about hugging his mother.
There's an award at Columbine that sometimes we give and sometimes we don't. It's called the Spirit of Columbine Award.
And there was the basketball coach everybody loved, Dave Sanders, whose loss has provoked grief and anger among his survivors.
This thing was going to senseless. It didn't have to happen.
Two students, Aaron Hensey and Kevin Starkey, gave the wounded coach first aid after they locked themselves and others in a science room for protection and contacted 911 on a cell phone.
They said they were coming up the stairs, and it took a long time to get through to where we were at. It took, I think, about 3 hours.
The Sanders daughters, Angela, Connie, and the rest of the family wanted to know more.
We just kind of need to know, what chain of events went on or what happened, just so we can try to put maybe a little bit of meaning and a lot of closure to the pain that we're going through.
ABC News offered to introduce them to the boys, with whom we were also in contact. A meeting was arranged. They all wanted to hear details of his final hours, knowing it would be emotional, but for them, informative and healing.
There was a lot of blood by his face, and so we thought he'd been shot in the face, but it turned out he hadn't, and just hit the ground, and I think broke just 2 or 3 teeth out.
Their main concern, had police rescue arrived earlier?
He said he needed medical help right now. He needed somebody there then.
You have a man who is fading and probably dying in front of you, and nobody is coming
We were
to get him out.
getting anxious because from the phone, an hour or so before they actually got there, they were saying they were on their way, they're close, and we were just getting anxious because we knew he needed help.
The boys and the family shared the pain, feeling that it took an eternity for help to reach Dave Sanders.
If SWAT had gotten him out of there, he would have made it.
Kevin and I feel that we could have taken him out with us. We felt, as leaving, we felt safe enough that we could have taken him with us, and he could have had a medical attention outside. And it's kind of, it's upsetting to know that he was not taken out alive.
Police authorities are sensitive to such concerns and have defended their methodical rescue tactics. Here on Talk Radio.
So this was not some quiet operation where the officers are very concerned about their own safety. They were advancing on these 2 horrid criminals through a minefield under live fire. So to say anything contrary, it really offends me, and I think it offends all the officers of our department when that is said, because it's, like I say, absolute hogwash.
Captain Vince DeMano's SWAT team was among the first on the scene. His own son was among those trapped inside the building.
And I realize that there's a lot of people that are in this anger phase and the community out there. But I was a parent of a kid that was in there. All my kids went there. I knew teachers, coaches, kids that were in that school. If their anger is to the point where they are doing something like this and accusing the police of some degree of not wanting to get in there to stop this killing, they got to stop and think what they're doing to the police that were in there. I just have to say, shame on them for that type of an attitude.
With the passing days, there are increasing demands for answers. Jefferson County Sheriff spokesman Jim Parr late today responded to suggestions there may have been a third gunman involved.
From day one, we've been hearing from the students that there may have been a third party. That's something we've always left open for speculation. That's something we've looked into, and as of tonight, we still have not identified a third shooter.
Do you have any ideas who that third might be?
No, we don't. If we did, we'd have him in custody.
Events at Columbine High have left a wound deep and wide. The healing has a long way to go.
And we have a note now about our coverage of the Littleton story. On 2020 Wednesday, a boy we interviewed mentioned a website, www.trenchcoats.com. We want to make clear that this website is not related in any way to the so-called trenchcoat mafia or the tragedy at Columbine High School. We'll be right back.
Security brief, sir. Somehow Johnson's had a pizza delivered. A delivery boy just waltzed in here?
Fancy crust, toppings? Looks that way, sir.
Find him, now!
Where is he? Where's the delivery boy?
It's not delivery! It's DiGiorno!
The Rising Crust Pizza that bakes up fresh like pizzeria pizza. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Here, taste.
How can you tell what a home is worth? Is it what you could get for it today? Or something more enduring? Is it about a cozy porch? Is it a nice yard?
living room? Or is it better schools, safer streets, a feeling of security? You see, when you own a home, you're not just building a brighter future for your family. You're building a brighter future for all of us. For a free guide that can help you on the path to home ownership, call the Fannie Mae Foundation.
Well done, Bruce Lee, but those men were flabby and weak.
Oh, Karate Kid?
Kid, I'm 35. You lack focus. My master would teach you.
Arnold from Happy Days? Hudson Brisk, I see. Where did you get that? Editing mistake in my favor. Brisk, baby! Only fool, fight man with Brisk.
You want incredible color, but you also want incredible hair. Color that lasts and color that's gentle. It's not impossible. It's Hydriance. Incredible color that's incredibly gentle. Its unique water-based color cream hydrates your hair with luxurious, moisture-rich color that lasts and lasts. But Hydriance won't shock your hair. It's the gentle, permanent way to color. So you're a beautiful blonde, brunette, redhead, and your hair is silky and shining. Introduce your hair to Clairol Hydriance. Incredible color that's incredibly gentle.
Next Friday from ABC News, a celebration of this past century's most intriguing, important, and influential women. Oprah Winfrey, Bette Midler, Jane Fonda, Rosie O'Donnell, and others helped Barbara Walters present the most spectacular women of this century. A celebration, 100 years of great women next Friday.
She made the most painful decision a mother could ever make.
I did the unforgivable.
ABC presents the story of a woman
I'm your mother.
determined to make things right.
Can't you give me a chance to be the mother that you need now?
Diana Ross, Brandy, Double Platinum, and ABC premiere movie event Sunday, May 16th.
Now a story about a government agency that everyone loves to hate, the Internal Revenue Service. You may remember hearing awful stories about how some taxpayers say they were treated by the IRS. Our colleague Sam Donaldson is here with us because he has an exclusive report on what can happen when the agency goes after not only the taxpayers, but one of its own.
That's right, Barbara. Last year, Congress passed a reform measure. President Clinton signed it into law, but it's the agency itself that has to make it work. And what we found is that a lot of people inside the IRS may not be following the intent of the law. We also found that when courageous IRS agents speak out to expose this, the agency seems to be turning on them, not on the people doing wrong.
You go from day to day, and it's created financial problems.
They started harassing me, telling me they were going to take the house and take the cars.
Maybe they haven't realized that we're still people.
These three people say the IRS is making their life miserable. A familiar story, but one that was supposed to have changed after years of taxpayer rights being violated.
The committee will please be in order.
It was to investigate IRS abuse that the U.S. Senate held hearings in September of 1997. IRS employees came forward to testify, hidden behind screens, their voices disguised, afraid, they said, of retaliation. But one agent spoke out boldly, ready to risk her career for what she believed. Jennifer Long, from the Houston district of the IRS. She claimed there was an unwritten policy that
when reviewing a tax case, it is now our job to stick it to the taxpayer.
Long was promised protection by the senators.
We're not going to tolerate anybody retaliating against you. And you can be sure that if it happens, we'll take action.
But 2 weeks ago, when Jennifer Long sat down with us, she said retaliation against her by her superiors began almost immediately.
It's horrible. It's horrible. I've had to change my entire life to cope with this.
Long has been with the IRS for 16 years, and before her troubles began, with a good record. But now...
If someone comes to my desk to talk to me, my manager comes right up and looks at them like, what are you doing here? And, of course, people are frightened by this because they see what they've done to me.
But at least Long could take satisfaction that as a result of those Senate hearings, An IRS reform bill was signed into law last summer, containing provisions to protect so-called innocent spouses, to forgive the tax debts of true hardship cases, and to correct other past abuses.
So today, is this still going on?
Yes.
It is?
Yes, it is. In fact, I feel like it's worse.
Who doesn't have the message?
Well, the people didn't change. The same people that decided that we were going to do this in the first place are still there.
We decided to investigate the current state of IRS reform for ourselves. And it didn't take us long to come up with some troubling cases.
We've got more people coming to help set stuff up. So.
Meet Nancy Johnson. She's holding a yard sale. She's selling her possessions because she's had to sell her house, her home for 24 years. And she and her daughter must move. They don't know where they'll live now.
This is Nancy. How may I help you?
Johnson's life started spiraling downward when her late husband, Steve, fell on hard times with his business. He started taking shortcuts with his taxes. But his wife, Nancy, says he didn't tell her.
Now, when your husband brought the tax returns, did he say, now, honey, let's go over Schedule A and B, particularly C, because that's the business schedule?
No. He would just bring them in and say, all the taxes have been figured. I need your signature.
And you'd sign?
Well, of course.
Steve Johnson's business failed. The couple divorced in 1992. The next year, Steve died of cancer, leaving behind a combined state and federal tax debt of nearly $500,000.
Did you have $500,000?
Well, of course not. There was no way that I could have worked every day for every hour of the rest of my life and been able to make that kind of money.
Johnson did have a home appraised at $222,000, on which she owed just $41,000. If she could refinance, that money might well pay off her entire renegotiated tax debt. But she needed both the state of Utah and the IRS to agree to the plan, since they both had put liens on the house. Utah tax agent Dolores Furness agreed, because
I do believe that Nancy is an innocent spouse.
An innocent spouse, a concept last summer's Reform Act strengthened, meaning that if one spouse had no participation in or knowledge of the other's wrongful tax filing, the tax burden wouldn't be shifted to that innocent spouse. But the IRS blocked the plan that would allow the refinancing because it, quote, would not protect the full interest of the United States government. So the mortgage company foreclosed on the house, which had an appraised value, remember, of $222,000.
The house was sold for $51,000.
$51,000?
Mm-hmm. There was less than $10,000 left for me.
Johnson is at a loss to explain why the house brought so little. Utah tax agent Dolores Furness thinks forcing the sale of the house made all the principals losers.
I was truly outraged, and I was outraged because nobody won on this thing other than the person who bought the home.
And who lost?
The Internal Revenue Service, the Utah State Tax Commission, and especially Nancy Johnson.
Yeah, put it down harder.
So one Saturday in March, with the house sold, the possessions of a lifetime were disposed of in a yard sale.
So we cleaned everything out that we could. What did you sell the guitar for? For $1. And we sold my daughter's bed. We sold our dining room table.
You know 10 on that?
Yep. We sold pictures off the walls.
How much is the skirt?
Oh, 50 cents. Clothing. You can tell we're trying to get things moved out. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by. Just about everything.
Possessions sold and no place to go. But as Nancy Johnson and her daughter Annie pondered their future, a good Samaritan materialized. A friend, Marlene Benson, offered them a home. She would take the Johnsons in.
It's small, it's old. The kitchen's like a closet, but you know what? It's your home if you want it to be.
For Annie Johnson, the moment was too much. The good neighbor, Marlene Benson, wonders why the IRS did this.
I don't know what they're thinking, but they're certainly not thinking with any heart. There's no heart involved. These are people's lives. This is not mathematics. This is not figures on paper. These are people's lives.
A kinder, gentler IRS. Nancy Johnson's case is now involved in an IRS appeals process. but she says she's already lost everything. Meanwhile, in Houston, things had gone from bad to worse for Jennifer Long, the IRS whistleblower.
Would her testimony before the U.S. Senate cost her too dearly? The rest of Sam's astonishing story in a moment.
This is really something. You see this pain reliever? Nothing is proven to work better or last longer. Nothing. You see this one? For 14 years, people have counted on this for relief, and it's gentle on the stomach. And you may be surprised to learn that both are Advil. It's true. Nothing's proven to work better or longer than Advil. And millions of people can tell you it's gentle to the stomach. Strong, yet gentle. Advil.
Hey, tarantula eyes. The more you coat, the more it clumps. Cut the fuss, baby. Get Almay one-coat mascara. For double-sized lashes in one fast coat. And clumps? Forget about it. Almay one-coat glides on without clumping. Ta-da! All the look-at-me lashes you want. All you ever need is one coat. So save the fuss for something important. Double your lashes in one coat. Zero fuss with Almay one-coat mascara.
Something special is happening. You can feel it. We see it at the auto shows. We read about it in the press. And we see it around here. I think over the next few weeks and months, you're going to be impressed by the kinds of things you see coming out of Nissan.
Before Hal came to LensCrafters, he never owned a pair of prescription sunglasses.
Figured I could buy with squinting.
I searched until I found a pair that really suited his face.
These are great.
And I know he loved our prices.
Ask for prescription sunglasses ready in about an hour at LensCrafters.
Did somebody say 2 Egg McMuffin sandwiches or 2 sausage biscuits with egg or one of each for just $2? Or for you sleepyheads, 2 Quarter Pounder with cheese sandwiches or 2 6-piece chicken McNuggets or one of each for just $2?
If you thought The Matrix had action,
What's going on?
check out this reaction.
Someone's setting us up.
The network premiere, Keanu Reeves. Chain Reaction, ABC Saturday.
Is this how you seduce all the girls?
The only thing better than the practice.
Is this true? Can I get life? Tell me!
An all-new practice.
You told me that I was facing perjury. An outrageous charge.
Somebody was murdered. Somebody's going to pay for it.
An all-new practice, ABC Sunday, 10/9 Central.
The Senate's star witness. She blew the whistle on the IRS. What will happen to her now? And later, one-on-one with Dennis Rodman, a Diane Sawyer exclusive. Fired from the team. What will he do now? The surprising answers when 2020 Friday continues after this from our ABC stations.
The frantic call during the school massacre. A teacher tries to protect students while gunshots ring outside the door. Several calls for help came from cell phones. Tonight, a look at how the technology can hurt and help. I'm Kathy Marshall. The story's at 11.
Log on to KATU.com and break through to local information. With this city search button, you'll discover fun places for your son's 10th birthday, lawn and garden stores, and family camping near the coast. Log on to KATU.com and experience the power of information.
It's the Jeep Spring event, and great deals on your favorite Jeep vehicles are showing up wherever you look. Like a low $269 a month lease on Cherokee Sport, with air, remote keyless entry, and power windows and locks at no extra charge. Or get Jeep Wrangler for under 15 grand. The landscape will never be the same during the Jeep Spring event, the event that's getting everyone to sit up and take notice. Get these speakers when you buy or lease a Cherokee or Grand Cherokee with Infinity Sound.
During Dodge Adventure 99, America's best-selling, most innovative minivan now comes with a $1,000 cash allowance. Or you can choose a vacation package worth up to $1,800 at the new Universal Studios Islands of Adventure theme park in Orlando, Florida. Or a vacation package at Universal Studios Hollywood. It's the adventure of a lifetime, and we have the rides to prove it. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
The Channel 2 News Clark County Bureau, now inside the nerve center of the Columbian newsroom. In-depth coverage of Clark County. One more reason why nothing's stronger than the power of 2000.
Wake Up with Steve Dunn and Natalie Marmion, now on Channel 2 News this morning.
We continue now with Sam Donaldson's exclusive report on the IRS. When we left off, supervisors were keeping a close watch on a whistleblower who works inside the agency. Sam?
Well, Hugh, we go to Houston now, the city where Jennifer Long still works as an IRS agent. And we discovered that the IRS may show the same disregard for its own people, as it so often seems to, for the taxpayers.
The IRS says it wants to be the taxpayer's friend. Its public relations commercials make the points.
The Internal Revenue Service, working to put service first.
Jennifer Long, the IRS agent who testified before the Senate in 1997, here's what the commercials say. And, well...
Why are you laughing?
The advertisement is very good. It's very appealing. But I work there. I know that is not what you find when you go there. These people are mean here. They don't care about somebody's hardship.
A case in point, perhaps, involves the Grahams, Ida Mae and Curtis, who live in the city of South Houston.
I told Kurt the other day that if anything happened to him, I wasn't going to move in with my children.
That is, if the IRS took the place.
If they took the home.
Curtis Graham is almost 79. Ida Mae, his wife of 54 years, is almost 71. Why would the IRS put a lien on their home? It seems that years ago, Graham owned a strip mall. He got behind on his payments to the bank and had to sell it in July of 1992 for $80,000. But Graham says he didn't get a penny of the money. Mortgages and property taxes took it all. But the IRS said federal taxes were owed on the sale nevertheless. And they socked the Grahams with a bill for $43,000. The Grahams couldn't pay it.
They keep threatening us. We got letters probably every 2 or 3 months about it.
I have just been where I even hate to almost see the mail person coming.
The Grahams do have a small income. There is Social Security, and believe it or not, Curtis Graham still works full-time, greeting customers at the door and looking out for shoplifters at a nearby Walmart store.
How long have you worked here at Walmart?
It'll be 5 years in June.
How much do you make here?
I make $6.50 an hour, which is approximately about $9.50 gross a month.
The Grahams would seem to fit the classic definition of a hardship case, the very situation the new law, signed by the president last summer, was meant to take care of. And in fact, Curtis Graham wrote the IRS asking for relief.
I wrote a letter to Chuck White, told him I just couldn't make payments on that at all, and I would like to seek forgiveness of it.
Charles Chuck White, an IRS group manager in Houston.
What did he reply?
He had his assistant call, said that they were going to put a lien on my home.
The IRS did reduce the tax bill to $23,500 and stamped the Grahams' file as currently not collectible. But the threat of collection for a couple whose total income is just above the poverty line is still there.
Did they say to you that they thought you were going to come into some financial fortune?
No, they didn't. They did not say them. The only thing they said, they would monitor my W-2 forms.
To see if you made a lot more money?
See if I made a lot more money.
Why didn't the IRS simply write off the debt as a hardship case, part of last year's Reform Act? Remember, Graham had asked the IRS for forgiveness.
He used the term forgiveness, but we know what that means. The Internal Revenue Service knows what a taxpayer is asking for.
Former IRS Revenue Officer Vicki Elizardo worked in the Houston district. She didn't handle the Graham's case, but we asked her to look at it. And she says the IRS should have helped Graham apply for the relief he was seeking.
You're telling me that it's the IRS's obligation to tell the taxpayer what the situation is.
Absolutely.
Not just remain silent.
Absolutely. He was ignored. He was shuffled off as someone who was not going to cause them any kind of pain or grief in the future, so he could be ignored and shuffled along.
I was in the Navy, World War II. I served in North Africa and Sicily. I was proud to serve my country, but I'm not proud the way the IRS, which is a government agency, doing it. They don't need to treat people like are criminals.
How do you think this is going to end, Mrs. Graham?
Well, I really don't know, Sam. God gives us one day at a time, and so that's what I do.
But the Grahams weren't the only ones whose treatment by the IRS in Houston is hard to understand.
Most of these are going to be 96, 97, 98.
Recently, Elizardo tried to go to bat for car salesman J.R. Hale. As an IRS revenue officer, she'd been pressing to collect his debt to the federal government. She was trying to take his house. When she learned, not only did Hale have heart problems, but his wife was sick too.
My wife came down with breast cancer. She's gone through chemo, and she just 3 days ago started into radiation therapy.
Elizardo changed her mind and declared Hale a hardship case.
We should completely back off and look for an alternative solution.
Now, is that your view because of just the way you feel about people?
No.
Or is there a law or a rule under which that fell?
Yes, absolutely. The tax code is very specific with that.
Elizardo wanted to abandon efforts to seize Hale's house, where his wife was now convalescing. But she says her superior disagreed. She says Charles Chuck White, the same man who wouldn't let the Grahams off the hook, wouldn't hear of a compromise with Hale.
He felt that I should pursue the homestead, the potential of the homestead seizure.
Well, didn't you explain to him the medical circumstances?
Yes.
What did he say?
Basically, he wrote in their case file that the pursuit of the seizure should be done regardless of the wife's health.
Last month, Elizardo was fired for allegedly not working hard enough, though her boss, Chuck White, had previously rated her better than good.
All the way up the line in the Houston district, there is a disregard for the law if it doesn't fit with their agenda.
We asked White for a formal interview, but he declined. And when we approached him this week to ask him about these cases.
Yes, can we talk to you about some of the practices going on here at the IRS office?
Obviously, we have a communications officer that you need to deal with. I cannot answer any of your questions.
Sir,
I'd love to, but I can't.
But the real shocker is what almost happened to Jennifer Long. When we talked to her 2 weeks ago, she told us her bosses were upset that she was talking to 2020. We reminded her that back in 1997, senators had promised her protection.
My grade 13 low-level manager is not afraid of a United States senator. What can the United States Senate do when the IRS is just thumbing their nose at them?
Well, guess what? Last week, on April 15th, as taxpayers scrambled to meet the deadline, the IRS moved to fire Jennifer Long. Her GS-13 group manager delivered a notice in writing that Long had just 68 days to improve her performance or face action that might well include dismissal. We replayed Long's prophetic words for the Senate Committee's chairman, William Roth.
My grade 13 low-level manager is not afraid of a United States senator.
And sure enough, Senator, they tried to fire her.
The commissioner withdrew that 60-day notice because I called him and said, we cannot tolerate retaliation. And I mean that.
Before she testified before your committee, in the 4 years prior to that, Jennifer Long's ratings had always been good ratings. After she testified, she's gotten nothing but failing grades.
Outrageous. In a sense, it shows contempt of the Congress. It shows contempt of the commissioner. And that's got to be changed.
Yes, I did talk to Senator Roth. He was very upset about this. I was very upset about it, and that's why we took some pretty swift action to deal with this. But
IRS Commissioner Charles Rosati, in addition to ordering the letter to Long rescinded, replaced the acting director of the Houston district and dispatched a team of top officials from Washington to investigate.
We're not going to tolerate any retaliation against the witness, either there or elsewhere.
Rosati insists he's instituting reforms that will ease taxpayer burdens, that will assure that innocent spouses and hardship cases are handled properly throughout the IRS. But Rosati is not the first IRS commissioner to promise serious reform.
I think Mr. Rosati really does want things to change. But the people, the management, they don't want any part of that.
Senator Roth plans to hold new hearings in September to investigate the retaliation against Jennifer Long and to investigate why the agency isn't protecting the taxpayers the way Congress intended.
Sam, what's going to happen to these whistleblowers now?
Well, Vicky Elizardo is appealing her dismissal, and Jennifer Long is not out of the woods yet. But Hugh, Barbara, I assure you, we're going to continue to watch what happens in Houston. We'll stay on the case.
And come back again and tell us. Important. Thank you, Sam, and we'll be right back.
Next, the bad boy of basketball, Dennis Rodman. Thrown off the team, left to sit out the rest of the season.
Are you sorry about what happened?
Diane Sawyer talks to Dennis Rodman about the road ahead when 2020 Friday continues.
That's one race that I wish I could run over one more time.
The legendary Daytona 500 has broken a lot of hearts.
I was way out front in 1981, and that thing ran out of gas.
In 74, I blew a tire with 12 laps to go.
But the biggest heartbreak of all would be trying to get into Daytona International Speedway using an American Express card. So if you want to enjoy the heart-pounding excitement of Daytona, bring your Visa card, official card of NASCAR.
My girlfriend let me here at Daytona. I sure miss that car.
I'm gonna live forever.
I'm gonna ruin your shirt. Baby, remember my name.
The amazing new Maytag Neptune washer. With its Turbo Clean Wash system, it actually has the power to remove stains.
Say goodnight, stains.
I wanna live forever.
Now in a super stack.
If you could leave just a little bit over at every meal, it would really add up.
Imagine what you could avoid eating in a single month. If you're significantly overweight, 30 pounds or more, depending on height, your doctor has something that may help you eat less.
It's called Meridia, and it can help you lose weight and keep it off. You've got to do your part. You've got to do your part with diet and exercise. But Meridia can help.
Meridia is a prescription medicine, and it's not for everyone. It can substantially raise blood pressure, and it's not for people who are pregnant or nursing, under 16, or taking anything else for weight loss, depression, Parkinson's disease, migraines, or for people with anorexia, glaucoma, or serious heart problems. Side effects may include headache, constipation, insomnia, and dry mouth. It's a controlled substance, so patients who abuse Meridia may become dependent. For more information, ask your doctor or call 1-888-4-MERIDIA.
I'm ready.
Meridia. You do your part, we'll do ours.
Let me tell you a story about Mark's favorite hat.
When are you going to get rid of that ratty old hat?
Never.
No.
We gotta go back and get it.
No way.
Cut to the chase in their four-wheel drive Ford Explorer Sport.
Right there. It's right there.
Hello?
Ford Explorer Sport.
Cool.
Built Ford tough.
2020, now in its 20th anniversary year, winner of over 300 prestigious awards for excellence in broadcast journalism.
Next week, the latest reaction to the Colorado school shooting. And as tension grows in Kosovo, NATO gathers in Washington. Is ground war inevitable? Stay with Good Morning America.
There's a man. He looks just like me.
A stranger has come into Marty Stillwater's life, and he's stolen it.
That's not Daddy, that's the other one!
Stephen Baldwin and Oscar winner James Coburn. An ABC world premiere event, Mr. Murder, Monday. On an all-new Blue.
Give him what he wants.
There's a killer loose. The trap is set. It's a dangerous job. When you're the bait.
It's the Jeep Spring Event, featuring great values on your favorite Jeep vehicles. Like a low $359 a month lease rate on the rugged Go Anywhere Grand Cherokee Laredo. Now with more power, more safety, more capability, and more luxury than ever before. The landscape will never be the same during the Jeep Spring Event. The event that's getting everyone to sit up and take notice. Get these speakers when you buy or lease a Cherokee or Grand Cherokee with Infinity Sound.
So much for every little bitty thing that you do.
It's fun.
Make a difference. Join the Peace Corps. It's the toughest job you'll ever love.
Dennis Rodman is certainly no stranger to the headlines. From his outrageous appearance both on and off the basketball court to his firing last week from the Los Angeles Lakers. His life is always a roller coaster. But now people are wondering if this is the end of the ride. Well, just the other day, our Diane Sawyer asked him this question, and we asked Diane to come in and join us and give us the answer.
Well, I'll tell you, Barbie, as you know, you can never count Dennis Rodman out. After all, in his short, just 51 days with the Lakers, he powered them to 11 straight wins. And he says team management knows that his wild antics are part of the appeal. But as you're about to find out, he is a man of strange and stunning contradictions. At one moment cocky, the next gentle and reflective. The talent speaks for itself. His brilliant rebounds.
Very upset. Dennis Rodman is irate.
His ferocity right at the edge of control. After all, this man has been a key to 5 championship teams.
Dennis Rodman is checking.
But Rodman says even though he packs in the crowds, the Lakers and NBA don't give him the money or respect he deserves. While for their part, the Lakers cite his strange 8-day disappearance and how he showed up late for practice saying he couldn't find his shoes. He showed up in chartreuse and nose rings to talk about how an executive sent the bad news.
Like I said, they didn't even call me to let me know that I was cut or released. They didn't even call me. I heard from my bodyguard, and he heard from my agent. Mitch Kupchak called him to tell me. He was not man enough to come in my face and say, Dennis, we have to let you go.
Were you testing him? Were you daring him?
No, I've been like this for so many years, and they knew what they was getting into.
You couldn't find your socks and shoes?
And that's a cop-out. Now, that's a cop-out.
What do you mean? You were late, and you
I was not
did
late.
say you couldn't find your socks
No,
and
I did
shoes,
not.
right?
No, I did not.
What happened?
No, I did not. My shoes are sitting right there. My socks are sitting right there. I got my shoes. I got my ankle bracelets. Everything is sitting right there. I'm here. I'm ready to go.
You think they were just looking for an excuse?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Rodman doesn't deny he had attitude, but points out younger and lesser players are paid far more and says it was eating at him.
I worked so long to get paid so little.
All right, what about the 8 days you were missing? What was that about?
It was about the fact that I had to go find out if I really wanted to play under the circumstances. It was very difficult, so I had to take a step back and say, wait a minute, hold on. I did what they wanted me to do. I performed. I won ball games. I brought attendance back up. 25% of the artists in L.A., I brought them back.
Some people said you were going off to try to deal with gambling debts, big gambling debts that were really troubling you.
Anything else?
True? Not true.
Like I said, I don't want to get into that. Okay, I paid my debts in Vegas, and I've done a lot of other things, but it doesn't say that I'm not a good person.
Do you have a gambling problem?
No. No.
Can you stop?
I can stop anything I want to do.
But to run up debts of $600,000, according to the reports, I mean, 600, 700, presumably more than we know. That's a problem, isn't it?
Is it a problem? I can bring up another issue. When Michael Jordan had that gambling debt, was that a problem? Does he have a problem? No. It went away. But Dennis Rodman got a gambling problem. All of a sudden, that's concerning. But when somebody else does it, like Michael Jordan, big name, the greatest athlete of all time, my God, he's all right. He's fine.
Carmen Electra.
Yeah.
What was that about?
It was great, wasn't it? It was great. It was great.
Standing ovation. She, the former star of Baywatch. The two got married in a bizarre morning wedding in Las Vegas, lived separately, and then after a few weeks, divorced. It all looked like a Rodman stunt.
It wasn't a prank. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't
publicity. Was love.
It was, I love to go to death. I love her to death. And I've always told myself that I wasn't going to get married again. That was wrong.
People there said you were drunk.
I think majority of people that go to Vegas drink. Drink.
But did you know what you were doing?
I know what I was doing. I knew exactly what I was doing. Well, you can understand something. You're married to me, and it's very difficult to marry someone like me. You know, because it's so much baggage that I have, so much badness that's around me, and there's a lot of goodness too.
But did you want it to continue? Did you want a real marriage?
Well, we got divorced last week, and ironically, we're still seeing each other. Think about it.
Was it expensive?
I don't know how much it cost. 30, 40 bucks?
This divorce.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was 15,000. That's it. We went our separate ways as far as money-wise. She got whatever she came in with, what I came in with. So we back together as boyfriend and girlfriend.
But where he came from was the poorest part of Dallas. A mother whom he says concentrated on his sisters. A father who abandoned his young son and apparently broke his heart. Your mother was quoted as saying that you were a soft, painfully shy, passive child.
Yeah, she's true. That's definitely true.
Your dad?
Well, I don't know anything about him.
Did you look at pictures of him when you were little? And
No. Never did. Never did. I can only recall one memory of him taking us, like when I was 5 years old or whatever, and going to get some ice cream, and after that, I never saw him again. I guess he moved to the Philippines, got married, had kids, and kept on having kids and kids and kids. And, you know, I just cannot forgive him.
Believe it or not, he was too slight, too small to play high school basketball. He fell into crime and into jail before a miracle of biology saved his life. You really grew a foot in what, a year and a half?
A year and a half.
So if you hadn't grown that foot, where do you think you'd be now?
Probably in jail, dead or somewhere.
A small college spotted the 6', 8" kid and gave him a scholarship. Give me one secret. Give me one secret. Nobody's...
Give me one.
I will. You go first.
No, give me one.
You go first.
Give me one.
I will. You go
Okay.
first. He paused, and suddenly the mood changed again.
Well, I can honestly say that years ago, maybe when I was 15, I think that I wanted to be more of a girl than a guy. Just because of the fact I hung around my sister so much and her friends, and so I think that was one of the dilemmas in my life when I was young. Because there was no father or male figure in my life at that particular moment, and that's all I hung around with, my sisters. That was it. And that's the secret.
Was it sort of painful to be unsure what you wanted to be?
No, I think that I think you go through some of a crisis when you're at that age and you have no, like I said, no guidance, and to be around girls and females so much is kind of difficult. It's kind of hard. You can love them or you can love them.
He says a man from the Big Brothers Association helped him through those teenage times. But today, he still loves a gender version of Truth or Dare. It's his performance art, and the crowd can't get enough. You keep saying you're not gay.
I'm not. I'm just curious. That's not being gay. It's just being curious of knowing what can happen. And, I've done it all. I've done it all. Guys, girls, doesn't matter. I think that people are curious. If you kiss a guy, don't mean you're gay. If you hold a guy and love a guy, not gay. You're just being loving, that's all.
Classic Rodman, provocative, ambiguous, intriguing, just like his controversial career. But has his strange invention, the public man, begun to buckle the 38-year-old private one underneath?
One day I'll have my life the way I want.
What will it be like?
I think it's been, gonna have a lot of peace, a lot of honesty. I can sit there and ride in the sunset and break free from all my worries, my troubles, my just unforgettable past. This may seem good. This may seem like it's the greatest thing in the world, but can I say it? It's a bitch. It is a bitch.
Why?
It's so much work to do what I do and to be who I am. It's so much work.
You mean to keep
at this level? I mean, everything that you're trying to accomplish is like, you're going that way, but it's like, God almighty, what's holding me back? This weight is whew. Oh man, but I think the main reason is keep me really going, I think it's my kids. I want my kids to have so much. I want them to have it all, just have it all. And I have the ability to do that now because when I'm 50, I ain't gonna be able to do this anymore, this way.
If you went back and had to look over and over again at one moment on the court, what would it be?
I think the moment that I got drafted, that on the basketball floor, I played my first game as a Detroit Piston. That was great. That was great. I couldn't believe that I was there. I was on the floor and playing for thousands of people. That was great. That was great.
Is this the end of the road for Dennis Rodman in basketball?
No. I'll be back. I started the book. I'm going to be the one to finish it.
Who's going to pick you up next year?
I don't know. Maybe the Lakers. Think about it. Think about it.
Rodman's managers say that 4 NBA teams have already expressed interest in him for next year.
Oh, I think that's good news. I talked to Rodman a few years ago, and I found him, with it all, very sweet.
Really?
Really? We'll swear to it here.
Thank you, Diane. We'll be right back.
A Vancouver girl is in a desperate search for a donor. Hundreds give blood, hoping to make a match that will save her life. Good evening, I'm Kathy Marshall. Also tonight, NATO bombs rain down on key targets, and the Serbs claim several casualties at 11.
There's something wonderful about home cooking, and it's even more wonderful when all the prep work is done for you. Stouffer's Skillet Sensations, with all the seasoning, the chopping, even the sauce already done. Complete meals, including meat like home-style beef. Dishes you'll love to cook. And be even prouder to serve. Skillet Sensations from Stouffer's. Nothing comes closer to home.
Well, next week, 2020 Friday will be preempted by a very special program.
Well, that is right, Hugh. And I hope all of you women and men will watch our 90-minute special next Friday. It is a celebration, 100 years of great women, ranging from Amelia Earhart to Lucille Ball to Princess Diana. And I asked a lot of celebrity pals to choose the women they most admired.
The Roaring 20s, personified by the flashing feet of a line of flappers.
I think the flapper was really important. The girls who had been born at the turn of the century, who cut off all their hair, and who took off their corsets and rolled down their stockings and pulled up their skirts and said, "Hey, let's have a party."
So let's have a party. Let me tell you, this is not for women only. I promise that we will inspire and entertain you.
Thank you, Barbara. We will be watching at that time next Friday. Don't forget that this is a 90-minute special starting at 9:30 Eastern and 8:30 Central Time. Well, that is 2020 Friday. We thank you for joining us. I'm Hugh Downs.
And I'm Barbara Walters, and for everyone here at 2020, have a good weekend. See you Sunday. Good night.